This is WFYI News Now. It's August 14th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, an update on the ongoing case involving the city of Gary and gun manufacturers, the potential fate of a patient privacy lawsuit against IU Health, and Mayor Hogsett addresses reports of sexual harassment and misconduct from his former chief of staff.
To our policies, training, and reporting processes, and I'm immediately moving to implement greater protections for the people who serve Indianapolis residents.
Those stories are coming up, but first, the proposed 2025 Indianapolis budget includes a lot of things, like traffic safety, gun violence, and housing, and totals more than $1.6 billion. One thing missing is the amount that will need to be allocated to pay workers from several unions. From WFYI's local policy desk, Samantha Horton reports contract negotiations are underway.
The city is currently negotiating unions representing the police, firefighters, sheriffs, public defenders, and municipal employees. Mayor Joe Hogsett says it's time to raise salaries.
We are going to be investing money in the very people who serve our residents every day, those who have made innumerable and immeasurable sacrifices in the past few years and who serve as the backbone of this city.
With uncertainty of exactly how much salaries will increase, officials say they will pull the money from unassigned funds. Police and fire departments consistently make up a majority of the city budget. Officials say they hope to have all negotiations completed this year. I'm Samantha Horton.
A county judge says a new Indiana law banning local governments from suing gun manufacturers and sellers cannot apply to an ongoing case involving the city of Gary. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports Republican lawmakers passed the measure earlier this year in order to end that decades-old lawsuit.
The lawsuit, filed by the city of Gary in 1999, alleges that gun makers and sellers contributed to the city's gun violence epidemic. Republican state lawmakers tried to end the lawsuit once already, but when that attempt failed, they tried again this past session. The law says only the state attorney general can bring suit against gun manufacturers and sellers. In response, the firearm companies involved in the Gary suit asked a judge to dismiss the case, but Lake County Judge John Cedia rejected their request. Cedia's ruling says using the new law to end the Gary lawsuit would violate years of vested rights and constitutional guarantees. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
Just more than 2 weeks after amending a patient privacy lawsuit against IU Health, the Indiana Attorney General's office filed to dismiss it. As Indiana Public Broadcasting's Lauren Chapman reports, it follows a judge's ruling that the state offered no factual allegations to support its initial lawsuit.
The lawsuit stems from abortion care provided by Dr. Caitlin Bernard to a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio in 2022. After a story from the Indianapolis Star garnered national attention, IU Health said in a statement it had investigated Bernard and concluded she had not violated patient privacy laws. Attorney General Todd Rokita filed the federal lawsuit in September, alleging that IU Health either did not have a policy in place to investigate HIPAA violations or that it applied it inconsistently. A federal judge granted a dismissal requested by IU Health, but gave the Attorney General's office an opportunity to amend the complaint. It did so on July 22nd, but filed to dismiss it days later. The Attorney General's filing said IU Health provided additional documents on its privacy training, which satisfied the state's concerns. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Lauren Chapman.
And for our final story today, Mayor Joe Hogsett addressed recent reports of sexual harassment and misconduct from his former chief of staff at Monday night's City County Council meeting. Hogsett says he spent the past few days studying a letter written by two of the women who have accused Thomas Cook of harassment and grooming. The mayor apologized to those former employees, Lauren Roberts and Caroline Ellert, and says he agrees with their recommendations for systemic changes.
To our policies, training, and reporting processes, and I'm immediately moving to implement greater protections for the people who serve Indianapolis residents.
The letter made policy recommendations that include an independent audit of current harassment policies and reporting procedures. The mayor also said that the administration will begin to offer sexual harassment training to all employees, not just supervisors. Hogsett also agreed with the recommendation that free mental health services be available and accessible for anyone who needs them. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Dodlin, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.